Old dinosaur fossils aren't the only thing that can be dug up from out of the ground. In fact, there are countless stories of people finding the strangest things in some of the most insane locations. So that's why today we're going to cover 10 incredible things found in unexpected places. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to The Supreme, and click the notification bell for more lit content. Let's get rolling. Stolen Ferrari. Our first story takes us out to one of the glitziest places in all the United States, Los Angeles, California. Back in the 70s, October of 1974 to be exact, a man named Rosendo Cruz purchased a beautiful green 264 Dino Ferrari. 4 years later, it was dug up from the front yard of a home in LA. The story goes that a group of kids were playing outside one afternoon when they flagged down a patrolling police car. They had come across something strange in the yard while digging up holes in the mud. One of the children claimed that it sounded like the hood of a car could be heard as they dug and thought that the officers might want to check it out. After obliging the youngsters and returning with proper equipment and crew, the officials dug up this old school beauty. What actually wasn't all that beautiful anymore. But the question quickly and obviously became, how in the world did a fancy automobile like a Ferrari end up buried in someone's grass? The cops asked the current residents of the premises, and it was a couple who had only lived there for 3 months and they weren't much help at all. It turns out that the man who purchased the car, Rosendo, was a plumber and had saved up enough money to buy it for his wife. They were out at dinner one night, and upon leaving the restaurant and going to the side street they had parked it on, they quickly discovered that the vehicle was in fact stolen. Now, this is the part of the text where I would say SMH for shaking my head, because my only question is this: why would you ever park a Ferrari on a side street that isn't secure? Seems like an unnecessary risk to me. Clear leaf. Not everything strange is found underground. Sometimes it simply rests on top of it. Now, I know that more than a few of you out there are like me and enjoy a quick trip through the woods for a nature hike every now and again. There's just something about getting out there in the nature, hearing the songs of the birds and the winds whooshing through the trees that just makes my heart all warm. But speaking of those trees, most plants we see in the forest have green leaves, right? Sure, the dead leaves can be brown, and in autumn we may see reddish or yellow hues creeping in, but what we are used to seeing is a tree with a green leaf, not a tree with a clear leaf. Check out this image that was posted to Reddit just last year. It shows an entire leaf that seems to be completely and utterly see-through. We're not really positive of any specific reason for the leaf doing this on its own out in the wild, but if you've got the answer for that, then we'd certainly love to hear it. Declaration of Independence. Now, how many of you watching right now have ever been to a flea market? Well, first of all, no. This is not a place where you are able to purchase fleas. And who the heck would want to buy those in the first place? A flea market is basically a yard sale set up inside of a public building. You can go there and find secondhand items for really low prices, like the unnamed man in the late 80s who purchased a picture for $4 at his local flea market, not because he enjoyed the artwork, oh no, because he simply liked the picture frame. Now, not long after the man discarded the picture and the frame, which he ended up not liking after all, but he kept what he found sitting behind the actual painting, an original first printing of the Declaration of Independence. Now, this, of course, is the first official testimony citing that the then 13 established American colonies were severing all ties with Great Britain, and thus officially declaring our own independence from them. A couple short years later, and the document brought in more than $2.4 million at an auction. Baseball cards. Does anyone collect baseball cards anymore? Back when I was growing up, that was kind of a big deal, and there are some collectors out there who could inherit some generational wealth if they ever decided to sell any of their collection. Back in 2012, a man from Defiance, Ohio, named Carl Kisner was helping his aunt clean out their attic. What they found that day was pretty amazing. $3 million worth of old, authentic baseball cards. The more than 700 cards were all from the early 1900s. Cy Young, Connie Mack, and Ty Cobb are just a few names that were tucked away in a green box that had been unopened for more than a decade. Again, the cards were worth more than $3 million. For cards. That's insane. Naughty Granny. Last year, a story hit the internet that had everyone questioning some of the values of the older members of their family. When you think of your grandparents, things like hot chocolate, Christmas gifts, and school clothes shopping come to mind. Wait, oh, is that just me? Anyway, one thing for sure is that most grannies and granddads aren't associated with committing felonies. After one family's grandmother passed away, a few of the members went over to clean out her house. In it, they found a very large and very secure safe that was instantly intriguing. After enlisting some outside help to get the safe opened up, a pretty remarkable discovery was made. Guns and money, baby. That's right, it looks like Grandma, in her younger years, may have in fact been a bank robber. Or at least she was heavily trusted by one. Crazy, right? The dates on some of the coins inside of the safe, mostly silver dollars, ranged from the late 1800s all the way to 1964. Now, I don't usually give kudos to criminals, but this is pretty awesome. Superman. With the popularity of superheroes these days, this next story is certainly relevant for the times. In the summer of 2013, a house in Minnesota was being renovated. What construction workers found during this process was amazing. An extremely rare, number 1, 1938 comic book of Superman was found. What cost just pennies nearly 100 years ago, later sold in auction for a whopping total of $175,000. The writer Brian Truitt, who did this story for USA Today back in 2013, said that this may be the, quote, most valuable piece of insulation ever. I gotta say that I tend to agree with that. An old diary. Not everything can fetch the big bucks, but that doesn't mean that it holds any less value to the people involved. Case in point for that reference, a social media post from 2016 where a man named Jordan Toner claims that he had a friend who worked in recycling who stumbled upon this old diary from 1941. So this thing is nearly 80 years old. The one thing that I was concerned about when I read the original post is that the guy said he wanted to, quote, clean it up a little bit, when my first thought was, dude, you've got to get that thing to a museum. No word on if he ever got it there or who the original owner was, but as you can see, several pictures were posted to the internet of the find, showing the handwriting of the original owner. There's even a piece of some kind of old ticket that came crashing out of some of the pages, along with an old pencil. Hard to say how much something like this would be worth on the open market, but I've got to tell you that I'd certainly be interested in combing through the day-to-day life of a person who cataloged his life in America so long ago. Money and liquor. Here's a weird story from 2015. One afternoon, a story hit the internet claiming that a couple in Phoenix, Arizona, only named Eddie and Angie, found a hidden safe during their kitchen renovations. As they managed to finally pry open the door of the safe, they found $51,000, bundled up neatly by the way, a bottle of old bourbon, and a book titled A Guide for the Perplexed. Strange, right? The discovery was quickly met with plenty skepticism, but no one knows if this accidental find was legitimate or otherwise. $4 million quartz. One of the oldest and most dangerous jobs in the world is mining. A miner is a person who removes minerals like coal, ore, or other things from out of the earth. This is an extremely dangerous job, but one that, with a little bit of luck, could offer some really amazing perks, like when you manage to come across a quartz so large that it's worth nearly $4 million. Check this thing out. This quartz was pulled out of a mine shaft in Arkansas. Just look at the size of that thing. Quartz is used for a bunch of different things, like for being oscillators and radios and watches. It can also be used as an abrasive, like for instance the purpose of cutting soft stones, or also sandblasting. The images of the large stone went viral for years, and it's no wonder why. That thing is huge. Furry cuteness. We'll end today with a fluff piece. Literally. In another social media post from about a year ago, an unknown user posted this image online with a caption that simply read, "Thankfully, my dad found them before he started mowing." As you can see, there are 8 little baby bunnies just resting here, likely waiting on mama to come back for their feeding. And my goodness, thank the heavens that they were spotted before that lawnmower was fired up. Because if they hadn't been, I don't even think we would have been able to make rabbit soup from what would have been left. Alright, okay, that was bad. So it looks like it goes without saying that this world can be pretty amazing and could gift some pretty epic things if you know where to look. Thanks for checking out 10 incredible things found in unexpected places. You've been watching The Supreme. We'll see you next time.